Welcome back, scholars. Right now, what we're going to be working on is how to add color to your Cubist drawing. If you are working with traditional art supplies, just remember that you can always go ahead and upload your work here. So go ahead and click New, Blank Document. Remember to take a clear picture of your drawing if you did this on your sketchbook. And if you want to keep it on your sketchbook and you're only opening this app to add a black border, remember you click on Clip Art, load your own image. When you load your own image, you're going to go to Downloads. And let's say this was one of the drawings that I wanted to post. My final piece, for example. As soon as you post it, just remember to crop, add a border like I went over on the second video where I introduced step 3 and step 4. But one common mistake that I am still seeing even in class is that whenever students try to fill in the shape, it fills in the entire thing because they forget to change the vector fill to pixel fill. So don't forget to do this part. This part is very important. Look at the difference now. Even if it is an image, it doesn't matter. Remember to always start adding color, pattern, shapes, and don't forget about the tools that we have here. Under calligraphy, we have a steamer, we have spray paint, stamp, spirograph, web, eraser. There are so many materials that you can work with digitally, so don't limit yourself to just the line tool. I know that's what we've been using lately, but when you are coloring, just remember, play around with the patterns. If you fill this in, instead of using color, go ahead and use pattern. Remember, pattern is a principle of design. Value is an element of art. So if you want to use value, you could go to radial, and right here you can have different colors with different values. You can change the colors within. So again, feel free to play around with these. I am going to continue with the lesson that with the drawing that I started on video 1 and video 2, and that is this one right here. So the only thing that you have to do now, the only thing that I have to do now, since I already added a border and contrast, remember that is on video number 2. All I have to do is choose a color scheme. So I'm gonna go to my fill, to my colors. Remember, if you're using complements, you can use the tints and the shades of those complements. If I'm using blue and orange, you can use all of the blues from lightest to darkest and all of the oranges from lightest to darkest. If you're going to use green and red, you can use all of the reds on this side and all of the greens on this side. If you want to make your own green, because maybe this is more like a yellow green, you're welcome to move this around until you get the correct shade of green. You could move this around as well. So again, play around with your colors. Since my favorite color is green, I was thinking of doing my entire portrait green, but I'm a very warm person, so I want the colors to represent me. Remember, this is a self-portrait, an identity portrait, so be very selective about the colors. What do you want the viewers to feel? What do you want them to see when they see your self-portrait? I'm going to use the following colors. I'm going to use orange, red, violet, and violet. Remember, if you have one primary color, in this case my primary color is red, you can no longer use another primary color. So I cannot use yellow and I cannot use blue. I can only use the colors that are around red. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to choose this light tone per se, a light orange. And remember, this has to be at pixel fill, not at vector fill, because we already know what happens. And I'm going to start adding a few colors here and there. These are faces, so I'm kind of giving them the colors of their skin tones. start playing around with color. If you are not satisfied, you can always go over it. It's a little bit easier when you are working with this digitally because the colors look very clear, as you can see. If you work on this, if you start filling in your shapes through a picture, then the colors might look a little pixelated, but that's okay. You can always fix it with the spray paint tool. You could fix it with the crayon tool. This is a representation of my PS4 controller, me being a gamer, my mom's eye painting, my wedding picture, my family picture, my siblings, a paintbrush. So again, remember, it's cubism and abstraction. So even if you don't have the details, don't worry. Like I said in the past, the more distorted your image is, the more successful it will be. So now that I've used a little bit of orange, I want to go ahead and use a little bit of pink. And again, I'm choosing these colors because these are what represent me. Very, very warm colors. If you want to play around with value, remember, value is one of the elements. I'm going to go to the pixel fill. I'm going to change the fill to radial. I'm going to go lower. For example, if I want to use this kind of pink, I can go ahead and click on this. Fill this in, and if you see right here, you start getting a little bit more value. And feel free to zoom in. Play around with the tones. If you wanted to blend in a little bit more, you can start playing with this. And just like that, we have value. And I like to add value on the shapes where I do not have a lot going on. So the shapes that are super, not super big, but enlarged more than others, I like to add value just to make it a little bit more interesting. And that's very similar to what I did on my sketchbook with traditional art supplies with colored pencils and markers. If you want to go ahead and add pattern, because remember, pattern is one of the principles of design, I'm going to go ahead and choose a pattern fill. So I'm going to go here. So the reason why I love digital art and filling in color with digital art is because it's much easier, it's much faster, and you could finish within the next 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to get a nice pink color. Remember, I'm looking for something with pattern. Since one of my other colors is also violet and orange, I can get either something violet or something orange. So maybe I will get something like this. If you don't like it, you can just click on it. Let me go ahead and click the select tool, click on whatever pattern I don't like, and then just erase it. So if you're not satisfied, just remember to click the select tool and delete. What's going to happen if you have a pattern and if you try to add another color, it's just going to fill in the pattern, and you don't want that. So make sure that you have you erase your pattern before you start adding more colors. I'm gonna add a different one. I'm gonna add this color right here. Gonna add patterns on the clothing. Again, if there's something that you don't like, you just select it and you erase it. Remember, on the second video we played with contrast and we played with a little bit of proportion. So you see some large shapes and some very, very small little shapes. You see really dark lines. So again, start thinking about what elements and what principles you want to start adding to your portraits. I feel like I need to add a little bit more violet, so I'm going to go in with my color. I'm going to go with my violet. And if you feel like this is not dark enough, you can always go a little bit darker. Remember, we're using the tint and the shade. So if you want to go darker, you can. That's actually what I recommend. The more contrast you have, the more your drawings will start to stand out. Actually, I'm going to add this color. So again, if you make a mistake, just remember to click whatever you don't like and just fix it. Select it and delete it, or just change the fill, change the colors. I'm trying to balance my entire piece. So remember, balance is also a principle of design. So right now I'm trying to balance my colors so that the viewer's eye can move to different directions and it will not just stay in one place. I'm not quite sure if I am emphasizing anything on this piece, but what I can tell you is that there is a lot of movement. How do we know that there's a lot of movement? Because of all the lines. So again, as you're doing this, start thinking about the elements and the principles. If you are missing an element or a principle, then I would recommend to go back to your notes if you forgot what they were, or if you go to the previous lesson, I posted some pictures, and then just try to copy the patterns or some elements, some principles. Try to have at least 5 of each, because that's also what I will be checking. And if you're confused or if you have questions, remember I am available for office hours today. I can help you, I can guide you, I can give you a thumbs up. So if you notice, I'm trying to balance my colors right now. Everywhere I add a color, I try to balance it on the opposite side. You can leave white if you want, or you can get rid of it and just add a tint. If you really want your tints to stand out, I would say try to add them next to a color that is really dark to add even more contrast. So that is my recommendation to you. So again, start playing around with it. Just remember, the most important part of this is that whenever you are filling in your shapes, make sure you are on pixel fill. Click on the fill, and you are more than welcome to play around with the linear tools, the radial tools, the pattern tools, just to add a little bit more elements and principles to your design. And if you are unsatisfied with something, or if you just want to keep playing around, remember right here where it says calligraphy, you can go ahead and change different, you can choose different tools. You can use a paintbrush, you can use a stamp, you can use a sketchy tool. So feel free to play around with this. I'm gonna leave this as is, and I'm gonna keep playing around with this. So my recommendation to all of you is to play around with your colors. If you are not happy with your colors, the beautiful thing about digital art is that you can just erase the color, paint on top of it, and you can do the same thing if you are using your sketchbook. So if you have any questions, just remember to contact me. And if you need some advice or tips or a thumbs up on your colors, let me know and I will gladly assist you. Good luck, scholars. I'm super excited to see what you come up with.